Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Zachary Dickinson here. Hope you're all having a wonderful and blessed day. This will be a short intro. Today's video will be every Multiverse Saga show combined in a full compilation. Next week Tuesday video will be the film's version of this, and then finally will be the whole entire full compilation of the Multiverse Saga. So, without any further ado, sit back, relax. This is just repeated content from a few weeks ago, just combined into a different format. Hope you all have a fun and joyful time. All right, and so we have WandaVision, we had the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and now we have Loki, which is, in my opinion, take it with a grain of salt. You can argue with the wall. We can start a conversation about it in the comments. But in my opinion, the third show, which these began in early 2021, and this is the third show. This one came out in the summer. This is Loki season 1, and it is the best show that Marvel has released on Disney Plus yet. Up to this point, it is the best. But we're only talking about half the show. So season 2 and both seasons combined make it the best show. But season 1 is still one of the best seasons in all of Marvel with Disney Plus shows. Period. It's just 2 seasons of 6 episodes each with phenomenal build-up and phenomenal storytelling of building up Loki and showing us what the multiverse is like. And this was before they even introduced the fact that it was the Multiverse Saga. But we kind of knew, but they didn't label it. And so we got 6 episodes of Loki, basically 6 hours of Loki having his second part of a redemption arc, and it was just great. It was just great. And you had a king basically in it, but kind of not. It's the whole thing. But I would say, just looking at the Phase 4 shows, this is definitively the best, especially because it got a season 2. And because it finished. That'll be a problem that comes up later. And so now we have, at the halfway point of the shows, and not the whole halfway point since we have 2 TV specials later on, but at about the halfway point, we have another certifiably good to great show. One thing you're going to notice about these Phase 4 shows, very few of them suck. Most of them are at least good. And then we have 3 to 5 or so that are just great and top tier. And so we have What If Season 1. A lot of what happened in the Infinity Saga, but we're in the multiverse now, so we can go, what if Peggy became Captain America? What if, I don't know, what if Thanos didn't actually rule and was just happy-go-lucky? What if we have a laughing Thor? What if Tony Stark went to Sakaar and all that? We have many different things to go over. What if Ultron won? I will personally say I am definitely in the minority here in saying I didn't like most of What If Season 1. I find Season 2 to be the best season. That is a talking point for in a few weeks when we do the Phase 5 video. Overall, I will acknowledge this is a good show. I just don't really like it. That's about it. Most of it doesn't really interconnect all that much, and that's not why I don't like it. I just didn't really like Season 1. I love Season 2. I just didn't really like Season 1. That's pretty much just about it. What if? Fill in the blank. And there were some good and some bad, some okay, and that was just it. So, What If Season 1? Alright, so to begin this off, we have, in exact release order, the first ever Marvel Cinematic Universe Disney Plus show. Yes, all these shows are on Disney Plus and were streamed and premiered through exclusively Disney Plus. The first ever one was WandaVision, and people from most of my friends and the general consensus, this is among their favorites and what everyone considers to be the top tier best. Why is that? WandaVision took a shot and was different from among the rest and paid itself off. It made the whole reality warping of the Scarlet Witch more real, and to see how really reality warping her powers are. By just about every episode, we go through a different decade in the 1900s, all the way to the modern era, where the reality warps and gets broken, and we finally see the culmination of all that's been building all throughout. It's a little bit slower of a show, yes, but the payoff is there. Unlike some other shows that we'll get to later, the payoff is there. All the payoff and everything in between is pretty much there. It's the only bad part about WandaVision is the fact that after the show, it took nearly 4 years for more about it to come up. Because yes, you had her in Multiverse of Madness. So if you want to be you had this, then Multiverse of Madness, then Agatha. That's still north of a 3-year wait, and we still haven't seen Vision since WandaVision, and this came out over 5 years ago. Around this time was whenever, around this time in 2021 was around the end, or it's been ended, of WandaVision. And so that's the only bad part. Overall, as a show, it's top tier. It's among the best. You can't really argue with it. It is a great and phenomenal start to the Marvel Cinematic Universe of Disney Plus shows. Alright, so now we have the second Marvel Disney Plus show of Phase 4 and the second ever on Disney Plus of Marvel, period. We have The Falcon and Winter Soldier. We have Sam Wilson struggling with identity and not really sure if he should become Captain America, even though he's black in the US. We have Bucky Barnes, who is now struggling in a reality and trying to find himself in a post-in-game world and still struggling with the after effects of the Winter Soldier and everything that came with that. Now, overall, until the last episode, which this is what a lot of Disney Plus shows suffer from, you can watch this show and go, oh, this is great, and then get to the last episode and go, this kind of feels rushed and the villain doesn't feel perfectly executed. So, it's a great show. However, a lot of these shows with the overall villain and like reveal and build up, most often than not, these Disney Plus shows aren't films, and so they pretty much just develop the heroes and characters, and the villain and payoff and final battle of this whole show isn't the best, or isn't the best final conclusion. The ultimate culmination of this whole show was Sam Wilson struggling with becoming Captain America, and him giving it up, and then the U.S. government picking their own Captain America. And so that was the main core struggle. And so we saw that, and we saw the after effects. Ultimately, Agent Walker, John Walker, was getting his first name for a second. John Walker was Captain America, decapitated a person, and it was filmed. So he's not Captain America, and Sam Wilson ultimately took up the mantle. And so the show overall is great. The villain and the villain execution isn't the best at the end. It's a great build-up, but not the best ending. And people more often than not will remember the end than the middle or beginning. You will either remember the beginning or the end. If you remember the middle the best, it's a very different kind of thing. But most often than not, you'll remember the ending of a movie or a show more, as it'll have a bigger impact on you than the middle and beginning. And well, the ending in the villain perspective wasn't as good as some would hope. Alright, so now coming at the exact halfway point, since we have 10 in total, we have our fifth show. This one came out, I believe, at the end of 2021. This was Hawkeye. I would love to say that this is season 1, but so far it's only season 1. Well, I wish there was more of this. It was just good. It was just good. It was a street level MCU show that pretty much was basically a Daredevil show, was basically looked and ran as if it was Daredevil or a Netflix Defender type of show, just with Hawkeye at the helm and nearly retired, with a Kate Bishop coming in and going, I'm young, I'm strong willed, I want to be independent, and I want to shoot a bow and arrow and be just like you. Yelena Belova appears, Kingpin appears, we have Echo here, and a few other things. We have the debut of the Marksman, which has become a low-key great character. I didn't really find him to be all that interesting in Hawkeye, and then now he's very good in Daredevil Born Again. So, Hawkeye is just good. It's just a good show and a great continuation of this good run of Marvel Phase 4 shows. Right. So, as we get over the halfway point, I want to go ahead and say, hey, if you're watching this far and you're already 12 minutes in, maybe you're liking the video. So, why don't you just like the video, subscribe, hit that notification bell. We upload here at least 3 times a week: Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. Sometimes Fridays, and every so often we'll upload a Tuesday video, which is a combined or compilation video, mostly to do with Marvel, but we'll have other types of compilation videos up in the near future. Wednesdays, we have TV shows in the broad sense and rankings and just overall deep dives into stuff like the Arrowverse and stuff like that. Fridays is narrowing it and going over specific TV shows in general and just going over a specific TV show. Saturdays is books and any type of book content I feel like putting out. So also, hey, comment below something you want me to upload in the near future and I'll get back to you. Comment below something you liked or didn't like about any of these Phase 4 shows. I'll put a comment below and we can start the chat right when this video comes out. But without any further ado, we're just over halfway through. And so we'll go with, we have the 6th show of this MCU Disney Plus shows era, and we have Moon Knight, the greatest 6 episodes Disney Plus, Marvel with Disney Plus has ever produced. Why do I say it's not the greatest show? Because it never properly finished. You left us with peak fiction, peak fantasy. It's as if they made Brandon Sanderson's Mistborn Book 1 and then just dipped. Great show, great run, just going banger after banger, and each episode leveling it up from the previous. The only bad part is it's been about 4 years to a T since this show came out, and we have no recognition of a season 2 of anything to the sort, which pisses me off and most of the fan base off. How do you put a certifiable banger of a show and you don't fulfill it later? By now, we should have had a season 2, if not even a 3 by now, because it would have made them money! Literally! Why do you not produce something that's gonna make you money? I don't know, but it's great, it's phenomenal, it continues the great run of, if you're watching Phase 4, the movies are alright, but the shows are gonna hit most of the time, right? Well, they are! Most of the time these shows hitting, hit after hit after hit. Alright, so yeah, so we've had a great we had a great run in Phase 4. Had. The worst show was the final actual TV show of Phase 4. Which one is that? She-Hulk Attorney at Law. The one that leaned too freaking hard into the hardcore feminist side. And you have the moniker of Attorney at Law when maybe 2% of the show is actual attorney work. Maybe. It's like a lot, it's like shot for shot from the comic. But here's the bad parts. No true villain throughout the entire season. Daredevil pops in randomly. Okay. And she's not really even much of a hero. She's just arrogant the entire time. And that's because she, unlike Hulk, she's She-Hulk because she just becomes Hulk 24/7. And so she's just an arrogant woman as a lawyer. The entire time. And it's as if any time a male character comes along, that's not someone like Bruce Banner or Matt Murdock because she has a thing for him or something. They're just pricks. They're all douchebags, and all of them are just terrible. If they're not one of the like two people that she actually likes as guys, they suck. They automatically suck. And then she goes embrace the fourth wall and talks to a robot called Kevin or like Feige or whatever. And that was somewhat funny. But overall, this is 9 episodes that I watched intently to see when it would get good. Because no, it wasn't. I was like, okay, this is very depressing, but maybe it'll get better. Maybe it'll get better after episode after episode after episode. And what do you know? It sucked, and it did not get better. And Matt Murdock, for about the episode or two he was in, was maybe the only saving grace for that time. And like I said, you have Titania in there, who is her actual villain. Maybe one, maybe 2 episodes in the whole show. You have a Marvel cinematic show that does not have a definitive villain throughout the entirety of it. And that was its biggest downfall. You don't have a villain or a proxy to go against her at all. It's just her living life, and that's like, all the other shows have villains. What good idea was it? Whose good idea was it to not have a definitive villain in the show? I don't know, but yeah, that's She-Hulk. Okay, so now we have, after we've had WandaVision, banger, we had a good show in Falcon Winter Soldier, we had a great show in Loki, we had a good show in What If, Season 1, we have a good show in Hawkeye, we have a great Moon Knight show. Okay, let's just follow it up with Miss Marvel, which was good! Again, it wasn't the best, it wasn't the worst, it was okay, but again, we just had another good show. How could you not be hyped for Marvel? Oh, right, the movies don't hit as hard as the shows do right now. We have 7 shows, and we're less than 2 full years in, which is a lot of content, but nearly every show is hit. So we have Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan. It's just going off. It's just insane. It's a great show. It's not a top tier, not all this CGI stuff. Yes, parts of it is underwhelming, but overall, it's a niche character on a TV screen, and it's a pretty good show. She's only like 15. It's basically like, what if they made the first ever Spider-Man movie into a TV show kind of thing. She's like 15, and she's living out her dream. It's a good show, and it continues the great run that Phase 4 was on with their TV shows. Alright, so the final 2 parts of this are Werewolf by Night and another TV special. These came out in Halloween and Christmas seasons, respectively. So we have Werewolf by Night, which came out first in only black and white, and that's the only time I've seen it. Not because it's not good, just because I watch a lot of TV and stuff. And there's since also been in color. I would say, since this is just a TV special, I can't really rank it over the whole shows, but easily this is basically the best one shot of a TV that I've ever seen. It's just great. It just moved the pace along greatly, and it told a wonderful and pretty much complete and well thought out story for about the 45 minutes that it was on the screen. I mean, just another good or okay show, or TV special, or whatever you want to call it. Which is why, and the holiday special was also good, which is why Punisher is being hyped up right now. So, the final TV show slash TV special, the last 2 of these have been TV specials. The last TV special is Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, featuring pretty much solely Mantis and Drax. Just having a Christmas season fest to give one of Peter Quill's old celebrities or childhood like idols or whatever to come over and meet him for Christmas. Good, funny, laughable. It was fun. Just like 30 minutes of chill fun and chaotic attitude from the Guardians of the Galaxy. What more do you expect? Right, next up we have not as great, as Loki and What If season twos of each, but a still good and overall okay show. We have Echo, which released in early 2024, right after What If season two premiered in late 2023. And so we have Echo, 6 episodes released all at once, a good and wonderful blast. Wasn't as good as some of the best, but is definitely not the worst. Um, if you're looking for the essentials to watch of the MCU, Echo is probably not on that list very much. If you are looking and a big Daredevil fan, you might need to watch parts of Echo in order to understand how Kingpin is not blind if you watched Hawkeye. If you didn't watch Hawkeye, you don't need to watch Echo in order to watch Daredevil Born Again. Now, what is that to say? Echo is good. It's okay. It's not an essential MCU project to watch, but if you're a perfectionist and want to watch the entirety, it's a good and wonderful watch. It's not as bad as some of the worst, though. All right, so we now go into one of the greatest, and I mean greatest, shows in the entirety of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This is just like how Phase 4 went from not good to top tier in some cases in general, with the movies at the very least, not the shows, not always the shows. But we have the conclusion of Loki. We have Loki season 2! It was amazing and top tier, going bang, 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 bang all 6 episodes in a row, and Loki realizing his full and true potential, and has us clamoring and waiting and wondering how this character will continue in the conclusion of the Multiverse Saga, in Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars, and how this version of Loki will interact with his long lost brother in Thor, who thinks he is dead. All right, and then we have, right after Loki season 2, we have the greatest and best season of What If. We have What If season 2. I'm not the biggest fan of season 1. I will recognize that it is pretty good. What If season 2 is the best for me because I just find it to be the most entertaining. We will cover What If season 3, so I'll save my thoughts for that much later. But I very much enjoyed What If season 2. I found the episodes to be the best and most creative overall, and they were just a fun and wonderful blast. I watched this in the lead up to watching What If season 3. All right. So first up, we have Secret Invasion, and if you've been following the MCU for any amount of time and you've watched Secret Invasion, you know as a fact that it was one of the shows and one of the most well-built shows for the first 4 or 5 episodes, depending on your own definition. But once we get to the finale, it just doesn't hit like the rest of the show, and it leaves a sour taste in our mouths as the ending is just not it, is just not what we were hoping for in the build-up. You can even argue that it's just the first 3 or 4 episodes, and then after that, it just goes on a freaking cliff of a downfall hit after that. It's just insane. It could have been one of the best TV shows of the Marvel Cinematic Universe history, let alone just the Multiverse Saga. But you have to execute all 3 parts: beginning, middle, and especially the end. Most often than not, people will remember the ending if it's sour enough more than the beginning or middle. And so much of the fan base, including myself, feel like it's just not that good of a movie because it didn't execute at the end. Now we have the show that premiered pretty much around Halloween season of 2024, we have Agatha All Along, or AAA, as some people might refer to it. This was a 9 episode show that was good. I won't say great because people will say great because of the ending and it was amazing and this and that. I do still remember most of the show. The beginning was okay. The middle, or well, most, or like pretty much roughly half of the show, where it was the adventure and along the witch's road, it was a fun ride, but it wasn't the best and it wasn't the worst, but it was just okay. There were good episodes, there were okay episodes. It wasn't the best flowing show of the entire MCU, of the Multiverse Saga at the very least, but the ending was good. However, it's been well over a year, close to a year and a half since the ending, and we have no clue when either of the main characters, being Agatha or Wiccan, are ever going to appear again. So it's a wonderful sequel to WandaVision, a wonderful introduction for Wiccan. However, we have no clue when either character of the main cast of the two characters will ever appear again. We are now in our final 3 shows, and all 3 came out last year in the wonderful year of 2025. And so we're going to begin these final 3, continuing in chronological of release, being with Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man Season 1. A very unique Spider-Man origin story, a very unique animation style, and also a wonderful way to have a Spider-Man plus other heroes in a Spider-Man project. We have Daredevil and the female white tiger that they're building in Born Again Season 2 right now. We have I forget what his name, Tombstone. We have Tombstone slowly being built up. We have Spider-Man finally being grounded and mostly in just New York City, fighting low-level street. And as he is beginning, he's working with Norman Osborn and Harry Osborn, has one of the Runaways as his best friend. I am not the biggest fan of the animation style, but it is fine. It's okay. The show is good as a whole, and most certainly is for the broadest of audiences possible with the animation style and the difference that it has. It's a good show, not the greatest show. I do am very much anticipating season 2 when it comes out later this year. Now we have one of, if not the most hyped up Marvel Cinematic Universe Multiverse Saga show ever in all 3 of the 3 phases so far, as phase 6 is beginning and is currently going on right now. But this is probably the most anticipated and the most hyped. Did it live up to it? We're talking about Daredevil Born Again Season 1. Season 2 is currently out. Season 1 started off with a bang. Foggy dies. Daredevil versus Bullseye going head to head. Bout. All this good stuff. The hallway fight scene, the cinematography was great. And then Matt stops being Daredevil for over a year and doesn't suit up again until around episode 7. Why is this good or bad? Well, I can go on a rant of probably enough for a whole video, but I'll keep it short and sweet. We focus very heavy on courts, which is great, and Matt being an attorney. However, the slow burn and constant teasing of both Wilson Fisk going back towards Kingpin as he wanted to stay away from it, and Matt Murdock slowly going into Daredevil is very much like a soap opera and a high school drama type of show, of a tease, of a show where you're finally gonna get Daredevil. You're finally gonna get him. You're finally gonna get him. And you finally get him all the way near the end of the season. It kind of feels a bit cliche. We also have the introduction of White Tiger, which kind of fills the gap of Daredevil in between. We have the debut, or at least the continuation, of the Punishers, a gang that worships the Punisher. Kind of funny. Frank Castle Punisher appears and kind of talks Matt Murdock back into Daredevil. And so this was a good and okay season. It wasn't the best, wasn't the worst, probably not on the same tier as Daredevil, the Netflix show. Pretty much at the very minimum, just below, or right on par of the first season of the Netflix Daredevil show. Season 2 is much better. It's a wonderful blast, and I'll see you in the video where we'll be talking about that in the very, very near future. We have the end of Phase 5 in regards to the shows. We have Ironheart. I'll keep this short. I'll keep this sweet. I don't like this show at all. I don't like the fact that this is probably going to be one of the Disney Plus Marvel shows that is going to be getting a season 2. I don't like the fact that the main character was so willing and so easily ready to make a deal with the devil. I also don't like how she went from MIT, doesn't have money, doesn't go, I am smart, I am capable, I can make a product or a resource to where I can make money. No, she goes straight into crime in less than an episode. She also goes straight towards someone who she knows and has a bad feeling about, but she's too curious and wants to gain power quickly, so she goes to an obvious bad guy for help. I also feel like this show went a little too much into the diversity column. And it had a very good chance to be a good show. It may just be that I don't really like Ironheart as a character, if this is the same type of way Ironheart is portrayed in the comics. But also, you have pretty much more than 5 years worth of building up and teasing Mephisto, aka the devil of the Marvel Universe, and all it is to make a deal with a 22-year-old kid to bring her best friend back to life. I do not like this show. I've somehow gone on for about 2 minutes about this, but I'll leave it at that. I'm not going to go on a long rant about this. I don't like it. Maybe season 2 will redeem the show for me, but that's how I feel. Alright, so those are the 8 different shows with the 9 total seasons, going from Secret Invasion all the way until Ironheart, with nearly an exact 2-year from start to finish in point. We have pretty much great shows, all-time shows. We have most of the shows are at least good. There's maybe only 1 or 2 bad shows in the entirety, which is what you can hope for when they're releasing this many shows in really a 3-year span technically, but it's 2 years in total, since it goes from June of 23 to basically June/July of 25, so it's pretty much exactly a full 2-year span. And so we have 9 different seasons, 8 shows. You can only hope that they get this many at least good. You can't hope that it goes bang, 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 banger after banger after banger, like they did in Phase 3, which is most of the phase was banger after banger, or at least the second half. You can only hope that they hit this many good shows in a row, and that they only have 1 or 2 misses in general, which is only because of the bad execution of writing in general as well. I will see you all tonight, actually, in a video that I recorded last week, and I'll also see y'all again tomorrow as we go over every Star Wars movie ranked, as Star Wars May the 4th is coming up, so I'll be doing a few Star Wars projects. See you in the next one. Goodbye, and God bless. All right, so we're going on a good, nice streak. And now we enter the end of What If, the season three and finale of What If. I find season three to have a few good episodes. However, I do not see the need or the reasoning behind how the season three finale and like two-part finale and ending has nearly an all-female cast with all the different casts of characters that we've gone through. We just had all female cast and we kind of picked and chose what characters we wanted to use in the ending of this series. And so I do have a little bit of an issue with that because we used both men and women characters all throughout the show as both heroes and villains, but we use only women to end the show, which doesn't make too much sense to me. That's pretty much my only issue and the reason why I say What If Season 3 isn't as good as the first two seasons. Also, one or two of the episodes were just straight up weird and wonky, especially the Howard the Duck and what's her name and the scientist or whatever from Thor that was in WandaVision. I forget her name right now, but that's my thoughts on What If Season 3. It's not the worst project in the MCU of the Multiverse Saga of the shows, but it is most certainly not one of the best. Alright, so the second project that was released in Phase 6 was The Eyes of Wakanda that came out in about August or September of last year. A four-part series of ancient Wakandans just trying to get what was stolen from them to keep vibranium from coming into other hands. Yeah, this is the one that I straight up dropped after about an episode or two, not even caring that it's only four episodes and only really 2 hours in total. I'm not a fan of the animation style and how it was taken. It very much looked like The Prince of Egypt, which came out well over 20 years ago. Um, and I didn't like how the overall art style was going. It looked very cheap. The figures, the people looked very old style, and it looked even more of an older style than Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. And so overall, I don't like it. I didn't like it. If you liked it, that's for you. I don't. Sometimes I just drop something if I don't like the art style that much. I don't do it often, but nonetheless, I do it sometimes. And so I dropped Eyes of Wakanda. So now the next show, which only has four episodes and a total of 2 hours in runtime roughly, that is Marvel Zombies. Gonna be dead honest, I don't like the What If animation style continuation. I think it's bland and it's not that good, and it's been 5 years since What If season one came out, and there's no looking on any actual improvements on it. It's rather not that complex of a story at all. It has some good action, but it's nothing too compelling. Blade is also Moon Knight, so there's that. Um, some characters are zombies, some are not. Scarlet Witch is both a zombie and not a zombie at the same time, and is evil. The Nova Corps want to keep Earth locked down, and if anything ever escapes from it, they'll shoot it down from the sky to lock down the zombie apocalypse that is on that planet, which is an interesting take in and of itself. And so I found it to be an okay show, not a good or a great show, but it was okay nonetheless. I didn't really get bored at all throughout the time that I watched it. But I wasn't all that compelled or impressed either. Now off to the show that released in January that I just finished up last week, right at the tail end of April, and that is Wonder Man, an 8 episode, about 30 minutes or so per episode show about Simon Williams wanting to become Wonder Man, not in the normal sense, but as an actor wanting to become Wonder Man in a remake or reimagination of an old 1980s Wonder Man film. And he has powers, yes. But it's all a little bit weird and stuff. And we have the guy who was playing the Mandarin in Iron Man 3, who also made an appearance in Shang-Chi and Legend of the Ten Rings. And so the Department of Damage Control, it plays a prominent factor in this as well. But overall, this is an okay show. I'm very interested in how season 2 will go since season 2 is confirmed. I'm very interested to see how season 2 of this show will pan out and how that will evolve from how season 1 went to where now at this point the he has powers, and he kind of recognizes that he has powers, and so I'm very curious about that. Outside of that, it's okay. Again, it's the same as Marvel Zombies. The compelling thing about this was, will we see Simon Williams in a costume, and will he actually develop into a good or like a big character? And he's okay. He's okay. I'll wait for more of it. I almost dropped the show at like episode 6 because of how much of a douchebag he kind of is at times. But I stuck it out, and it was an okay show. It's not something I hate, but it's not something I love. First off, we have How Good Was Daredevil Born Again Season 2. So, it started off very great all throughout. Daredevil appeared through most of the season. This was an inverse compared to Season 1 because Daredevil appeared in only a handful of episodes, only about 3 episodes and 3 or 4 episodes in total in Season 1, whereas Daredevil appeared in every single episode in Season 2. Now the inverse of it as well is Matt Murdock, as Matt Murdock, appeared publicly in only the last 2 episodes. So it's kind of the inverse of Daredevil, because now the majority of the focus was on Daredevil and his actions throughout Season 2, and Matt Murdock's actions only pretty much, publicly at least, in the last 2 episodes. So we have much more Daredevil, however we didn't have much of Matt and the lawyer part. So where I would say is this was a great and phenomenal season. However, it still doesn't hit the perfect medium that pretty much the first 2 seasons of the original Daredevil Netflix show hit. But it wasn't really as smooth as Daredevil season 3 of the Netflix show, because Daredevil Netflix shows the third and final season of the Netflix Daredevil show primarily featured Daredevil and hardly any of Matt Murdock. Everyone loves and praises that season. It's not my absolute favorite, but also, this season didn't have we're not at 13 episodes either. That's always a big issue as well. But also, this season also had a lot of Matt Murdock behind the scenes and stuff as well, just like the season 3. It had a little bit of lawyering. I wouldn't say it's better than season 3 of Daredevil, though. It's not. It's probably better than season 2 of Daredevil, the Netflix show, even though it has less lawyer scenes. Why is that? Why is it better than season 2 for me? Well, it's better than season 2 of the Netflix show because it doesn't split the plot in 2 parts throughout the whole season. Because in season 2 of the Netflix show, you had the Punisher arc and then the Elektra and the Hand arc in the second half of season 2, whereas Punisher took a backseat role in the second half of season 2. This arc was, how are we going to take down Kingpin? Throughout the entirety of this arc was taking one step after the other, going layer after layer of how to take down Kingpin. And then we also have Bullseye also being much more prominent as well. It kind of seems like with the different teams of writers that they were reportedly having in season one of Born Again, that Bullseye wasn't a part of most of most of it at all, but Bullseye was a major part of season two. However, also the Punisher was not around in season two of Born Again. Hopefully, that'll be revealed in his own special, Last to Kill, that's coming out tomorrow. So, all in all, this is a great and phenomenal season. It is definitely a great and phenomenal season overall. Um, Daredevil, phenomenal. The way Wilson Fisk evolves himself as Kingpin and as the mayor is much better than season one. Him and Matt fight a few times. Matt and Bullseye have ideological differences that aren't as extreme as the Punisher, but it's wonderful to see, like Punisher and Matt slash Daredevil always gets to happen. So those are all great. The unexpected twist that Vanessa does die, spoiler alert, but this is a full review of the entire season. But Vanessa Fisk dies, and that leads to a more rampage and more full of Wilson Fisk than if Vanessa wasn't alive. We have Heather, the psychologist, full blown and will be the next muse come season 3. Daredevil slash Matt Murdock revealed himself as Daredevil and is now in prison and disbarred, as in he is no longer allowed to be a lawyer. So, yeah, that is pretty much all of season 2 of Daredevil. Oh well, Matt Murdock, the end point of everyone, of most of the characters involved. Bullseye is free. Matt Murdock slash Daredevil is in prison. Wilson Fisk is on an island all to himself outside of New York. Luke Cage finally appears. Luke Cage and Jessica Jones are in a relationship and have a daughter. That is who Jessica Jones's father is. We also have that Luke Cage is back. We don't know whether or not he has continued from the end of Luke Cage season 2 or what stopped from him continuing, how he was basically the mob boss or the leader of a mob or something like that at the end of that season. So that leaves a few questions. Jessica Jones' powers are a bit questionable as well. So we definitely leave a good bit to talk about for the future of this show as well. There's only one defender left that has yet to appear, and that's Iron Fist. We're hoping that he does appear in season 3. And so we have Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Daredevil all appearing so far. We're just missing Iron Fist. And so that's season 2 of Born Again. Now up next of this video, we will have some things I think will happen in season 3 of Daredevil Born Again. This will be outside of villains because I don't know the exact way they'll go with villains. But let's get into who or what will happen and appear in season 3 of Daredevil Born Again. So that has been the 48 to about 48 and a half minutes of all Marvel Cinematic Universe Multiverse Saga shows from phases 4, 5, and 6, including stuff that I didn't include in the phase 6 video, like Marvel Zombies and Wonder Man from the What I Watched in March and April video, and a review on Daredevil Born Again Season 2 from the video I just released yesterday, which was how good was Daredevil Born Again Season 2. I only put a single clip or a part of it that mostly pertains to exactly this kind of video. The rest of the video will be linked down below, and there'll be a playlist of all of the Multiverse Saga videos that you can watch other compilations and the Daredevil Born Again video that I just mentioned. The March and April one was released only about 6 days ago, so it's very easy to navigate and find. But without any further ado, I'll be ranking all Star Wars shows tomorrow, as it is still Star Wars month. So I hope to see you all there tomorrow. Hope you like this video. Subscribe, hit that notification bell to get notified about any future video updates, and comments on below. I thank you all. God bless. Goodbye, and have a great day.